Hola amigos! My name is Julio Fopoli and I want you to speak Spanish like a pro. That's why today I'm bringing you Julio Fopoli's Conversational Spanish 101 like a pro. Sometimes language courses present a lot of structures, a lot of phrases, vocabulary that in a real situation they're not so common or people don't use them so much. Well, not in this case. Here we are going to learn just the bare minimum that you need to communicate on a day-to-day basis. And I'm going to start with something that's not usually mentioned, or I haven't seen it taught really, but I think it's a great starting point from the point of view of pronunciation when it comes to Spanish. Being a conversational Spanish course, well, pronunciation plays a huge part, both to understand and to say things. So today's lesson is going to be on phonetic languages. And you may be wondering, what is this? Well, this lesson is mostly theoretical, but it will pave the way it will really be the foundation for anything that has to do with pronunciation and actually understanding when people talk. A phonetic language is a language in which there is a direct relationship between spelling and sound. This is important. A direct relationship between spelling and sound. This means that if you know how each individual letter sounds, you can pronounce any word in that language. Let's have a look at English as an example. For example, let's say that it's my first day learning to speak English, and I see that this is okay. I. So I say, okay, I learn to say anytime I see this, it's I. But all of a sudden, if I see this and I say eyes, people will say, no, 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 that's wrong. It's not eyes. And I say, well, but you told me that this is I, and now I just added an S. Well, this is. Okay, so I say, well, okay, is sounds like is. All right. And then all of a sudden I see this and I say, okay, island. And someone says, oh, no, it's not island. It's island. Island. Where's the is? Probably drowned. Another example. If I see this in English, I would say though. Though. However, by just adding a T, I don't say though. I say thought. So you see how just an addition, another letter, changes the pronunciation entirely. And even in some cases, if I look at this word, you say, okay, I know that one. That one is read. Okay, but if I say yesterday, I read. So you can see that English is not a phonetic language because even if we knew how each individual letter sounded, there would be no guarantee that we could pronounce words accurately. Now, the great news for you is that Spanish is a phonetic language. Just learn a few sounds and you'll be able to pronounce almost any word instantly. That's amazing. Just after your first class or second, you could know, basically, you could be able to pronounce almost any word, even if you have no idea about the meanings of words. But that's a different story. Today, we're going to focus on these sounds, okay, that are key, the vowels, right, that we have in Spanish, that with this, probably at the end of this lesson, this short lesson, you'll be able to pronounce, I don't know, 60, 70, 80% of words. Of course, there are some other sounds, some other letters, but obviously we are going to be learning that along the way. But with this, we covered a lot of ground. And we see that, for example, what's A in English, in Spanish, sounds like A. Anytime I see this letter, it's A, A. So I say casa, pan, mama. It doesn't matter if the letter appears at the beginning of a word, in the middle, in the end. I mean, it's always like that. A. Whenever you see this vowel, this is E, and it will always sound E. Tren, mes, entre. Whenever we see this vowel, it's E. It will sound like E. Sí, mil, Ingrid. And whenever we see the O, well, actually, it's not O. In Spanish, it's O. O. Oso. Oro. Gol. And finally, whenever we see this vowel, we'll say U. U. Tú. Azul. Peru. Now, you probably noticed that some words have this thing on top, incorrectly called but commonly called acentos. Acentos. The actual way of calling that is tilde. Tilde. But, well, lots of people say acento. This means that it's strong. But for example, here that we have like two vowels, Peru. We know that the U is stronger than the E, than this syllable, just because it's stretched out. See, it has the tilde o acento. Peru. And now, again, proof of what I said earlier is that even if you don't know many of these words, you could still pronounce them accurately. That's the beauty of a phonetic language. Now it's time for a quick exercise. Let's put our newfound knowledge to use. We're going to start with basic Spanish phrases that we use to introduce ourselves. And if you remember, this is the chart we've just seen with just the pronunciation. A, E, I, O, U. I'm going to give you a moment to try to figure out how to say this word. I know you know that one. This one, you know it's hola. Hola. And you know that this brings us to the first mini lesson within the lesson. The H in Spanish is mute. We don't pronounce the H in most cases, right? We'll see later that there are some minor exceptions, but for the most part, the H is mute. Now, I'll give you a few seconds to try to figure out how you would say this second phrase, this question. This is O. I would say, ¿cómo? ¿Cómo? This is E, te, and this is j, llamas or llamas. The double L has two possible pronunciations, actually three. Um, one is like kind of like E, llamas, llamas. The other one is like the J in John, llamas, llamas. And then people from Argentina and Uruguay, where I'm from, Argentina, we tend to pronounce this like llamas. ¿Cómo te llamas? However, most of the Spanish speaking world is divided between llamas and llamas, which is what I try to use in my videos. ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? Now, what about this one? The next. ¿Cuál es tu nombre? ¿Cuál es tu nombre? ¿Cuál es tu nombre? What's your name? Let's try the next. Me llamo Ana. Me llamo Ana. Me llamo Ana. Time for the next. Mi nombre es Ana. Mi nombre es Ana. Mi nombre es Ana. One thing that we learn as we continue with the lessons is that in cases like this, in which you have, for example, sound A or just any sound followed by another word that begins with that sound, in Spanish we tend to link them together. So I say, mi nombre es Ana. Mi nombre es Ana. And in general, the last sound of a word kind of like connects to the first sound of the next. I wouldn't say mi nombre es Ana. I would say mi nombre es Ana. Mi nombre es Ana. That's a tiny little thing, a huge thing, I would say. Very important to have in mind because speakers, we don't make pauses in between words. Actually, we link them all together. So that's an important concept to have in mind. Always try to, whenever you speak and whenever you listen to people, know that words are linked, need to be linked. Now, the next one, take a moment to pronounce this. And this one is mucho gusto. Mucho, mucho gusto. Now, I told you here that the H is mute. However, in combinations like CH or SH, they sound like kind of like they sound like in English. So it shouldn't be really a complication for anyone coming from English or having no knowledge of English. So this is mucho, mucho gusto, mucho gusto, mucho gusto. And finally, let's see if you can pronounce the last phrase. El gusto es mío. But now you know that we don't really say it like that, pausing in between words. So we'll try to link. And I will say it slowly, but linking this time. El gusto es mío. El gusto es mío. El gusto es mío. Bueno, amigos, esto es todo por hoy. This is all for today. In this lesson, we learned that Spanish is a phonetic language, and a phonetic language is a language in which, if you know if you know the individual sounds that letters have, you can pronounce almost any word in that language. And we also try to pronounce some phrases that have to do with greeting, something that we are going to be analyzing in more depth very soon. And for those Patreon subscribers, we also have access to the secret files. What are the secret files? Well, they are secret, but they are more activities for you to put all of this knowledge into practice and to get that conversational edge that you need. Because in the end, it's all practice, practice, practice. And if you found value in this video, please don't forget to like the video, subscribe, share it with as many people as you can, and click on the notification bell. My name is Julio Fopoli, and I'll be seeing you soon. Adios. Ciao, ciao.